Dober večer in pozdravljeni v oddaji Pogovor in Pika z veleposlanikom Republike Irske, gospod Kieran Dowling. Pozdravljeni, gospod veleposlanik. Folte, ambasador.
Gorovmina Mahagut.
O deželi, iz katere prihajate, ne vemo veliko, nam lahko predstavite za začetek Irsko Sloveniji.
Well, I think the first thing I would say is that people, when they think of Ireland, immediately think green. We are known as the Emerald Isle, and as Johnny Cash in his famous song told us, we have 40 shades of green in Ireland. So it is really a wonderfully green, verdant country. Now, we also enjoy a very temperate climate, which means that we have great agricultural products. I mean, we're a huge exporter of beef. And not only that, but we're a huge, I think we're in terms of thoroughbred horses, which are a great love in Ireland, we're third in the world in producing thoroughbred horses. So we have a temperate climate, as I say. We believe it's a very beautiful climate. It doesn't have the heat that you have here on the continent in the summer, and we're grateful for that. We have so many things, and we can talk about tourism later, but we have so many things to offer in Ireland. But I think quintessentially, the Irish are a very friendly, very warm, very hospitable people. So we always like to think that when people come to Ireland, we have this expression, when you come to Ireland, we wish you 100,000 welcomes. Céad míle fáilte as Gaeilge. And we genuinely believe we can live up to that. But that's just one side of the coin. Side by side with this wonderful scenery and this wonderful heritage and so on and so forth, we're also a totally cutting-edge, knowledge-based economy today. Now, we've had our economic difficulties in recent years, but we're getting out of those. But we're still, in GDP per capita terms, we're still very strong. And as I say, we're a very open, we're a very globalized economy. I think we're the second most globalized economy in the world, and our exports are thriving. So side by side with our beautiful scenery, with our warm people, we're a cutting-edge economy, and we're glad to have the two together like that.
Letos je zelo pomembno leto tudi za Irsko, saj predsedujete Evropske uniji. Zanima me, kaj lahko od tega pričakujete.
Well, you know, Ireland has been in the European Union for 40 years. It's a long time, and this is our 7th presidency of the European Union. And, you know, it makes us a bit nostalgic because the last time we had the presidency in 2004, that's when Slovenia, our good friends, Slovenia came in with 9 other countries. It was the biggest single expansion of the European Union at the time, from 15 to 25 member states. And the theme of our EU presidency is stability, growth and jobs. And when I presented that message to the European Affairs Committee and the Foreign Policy Committee in the Slovenian National Assembly recently, they fully agreed that this is exactly what's needed. It's needed for us in Ireland, and it's needed for the European Union. Because, you know, the big challenge today is jobs. we have, I don't like the expression, but some countries talk about the young being a lost generation. And if we don't, we will have failed the young in particular, not just the young, but the young in particular, if we don't create the financial stability that we need, if we don't create the growth that we need, we won't have the necessary employment. And, you know, giving young people the prospect of a job and a future when they come out of universities, it's the absolutely key critical demand, and that will be the requirement on us in the main as presidency of the European Union in this 6 months.
Kje živi več Ircev, doma ali po svetu?
Well, you know, Ireland, we've always had an enormous diaspora, as we call it. And I think if we have something like 4.5 million people in the Republic of Ireland, overseas altogether, we have 71 million people of Irish origin. So we have a huge footprint in the United States, in Australia, obviously in the United Kingdom as well. So, and in fact this year, as part of our tourism drive, we're organising a thing called The Gathering. And that means we want those people in the diaspora to come back and to share with us their experiences, and we want to show them a good time, you know. So this is the year of The Gathering in Ireland, and it's focused on the diaspora to come, but not just the diaspora, we want tourists to come from here as well.
Irska je zelo znana tudi po uspešnih glasbenikih in seveda tudi igralcih.
Well, you know, we have people who weren't necessarily born in Ireland, like Peter O'Toole, but when he's ever asked, you know, what nationality are you, he says, I'm Irish, and he feels totally Irish, and his identity is totally Irish. But in the current crop of actors, I would have to mention Liam Neeson, who's a tremendous actor. Colin Farrell, of course, is another great Irish actor. Gabriel Byrne is another great Irish actress. So we have quite a few of them, you know. So for the musicians, I know that the Dubliners have been very big here. Now the Dubliners have just come to an end because Barney McKenna, one of their last great members, died in recent months, and I think they've officially broken up. And on the dancing front, we have our traditional Irish dancing, and even here in Slovenia, you know, we have a woman, Joan McIntyre, has an Irish dance school, you know, so if you want to learn Irish dancing, Joan is your woman, and so on and so forth. But I think what really put Irish dancing on the map was the whole river dance, complex. You know, in Ireland, we're very proud of our culture, our traditional music. As you say, we have U2. I mean, they're a world phenomenon at this stage. But we have Van Morrison. Before we had Rory Gallagher. We had Phil Lynott, who's no longer with us. But we're very proud both of our traditional music and song, and also of our modern music. We have Sinead O'Connor. We have so many great exponents of music, and we're a very musical people. I think we love singing, we love dancing, and we love talking.
Kako je pa za kulturno izmenjavo med državama? Ali obstajajo tudi kakšni avtorji, ki so prevedeni iz slovenščine, recimo v irski jezik?
You know, the literary links between us began way back in the 7th and 8th century when these Irish missionaries came out here and they sowed not just Christianity but the seeds of this wonderful literary culture. Literary Ireland, in our tourism, Literary Ireland is very important because people, we have for a tiny island, we had 4 Nobel Prize winners in literature, including a living one, Seamus Heaney, who is our great poet at the moment. But for a tiny island, literary tourism is huge because, when people come to Dublin, they want to do the Joyce walk around Dublin, and W.B. Yeats is another of those Nobel Prize winners. He's buried over in Drumcliff in Sligo, and that's a great place of pilgrimage. But in modern day times, I'm delighted that so many Slovenian authors have been translated into not just English, because as I was telling you this recently, an Irish duo called Owen Mock-Agon and Gabriel Rosenstock, whom I know, they actually took the best writers in Slovenian, and Gabriel is an Irish language specialist, and they translated them not into English but into Irish. So it's great to have this record of your great writers and bringing them home to us, not just in the English language, but in the Irish language. Every word of this is in the Irish language.
Tradicionalna irska kuhinja se verjetno precej razlikuje od naše slovenske tradicionalne hrane. Zanima me, če ste našli mogoče kakšne podobnosti ali seveda raznolikosti.
Well, in Ireland we have a great climate. We get a fair bit of rain, which I think is good for the complexion, but it's also great. It's also great for the fields. We have magnificent grass. And that grass produces the best food in the world, in my view, particularly our beef. Our beef, we're a huge exporter of beef. And if I miss lamb as well, and if I miss anything when I'm not in Ireland, it's this tremendous quality of our beef and the quality of our lamb. And, I think that is the essence of Irish food. We produce this marvellously rich food. And you don't need to do anything. When you have a great product, you don't need to cover it up in lots of sauces and that. It really is. Our oysters are the same, and there's people love in the summer going off to a pub in the west of Ireland and having a plate of oysters and washing it down with a glass of Guinness. So I think our food, I like the food here, but I like Irish food even more because, as I say, we pride ourselves on the quality of our produce, and the soft rain that we have really helps to produce that sort of great agricultural produce.
Is it true there is no snakes in Ireland?
Well, the joke was that St. Patrick, when he came to Ireland to convert us to Christianity, that he drove out all the snakes. So, there are no snakes in Ireland, but the myth is that St. Patrick, when he came, well, we don't know whether he came from Wales or whether he came from France or wherever, but the myth is that he drove out all the snakes from Ireland.
Katere so zunanje politične prioritete Irske?
I think that Irish foreign policy was founded on disarmament and non-proliferation. We're great people to promote peace in the world. were great people to promote development, to help, there was this great tradition of Irish missionaries going to Africa and elsewhere. In India, when I was there, the great heritage we have in India is that all of the so-called elite were educated by Irish Christian brothers and Irish nuns. All of these, so we never had any colonies from Ireland, but we have this great heritage in places like India where so many people, politicians, top civil servants, judges, they were all educated by the Irish, and that's a tremendous bond. So disarmament, non-proliferation, we're a neutral country, we're not a member of any military alliance, and that has kind of formed our approach to foreign policy, disarmament, non-proliferation, peace in the world, and helping the poorest of the poor in Africa and elsewhere.
Irsko je seveda tudi močno prizadela globalna kriza. Zanima me, kako ste jo uspeli premagati, na kakšne načine?
Well, there's good news on that front because, as I say, we're back in recovery, we're back in growth, our exports are very strong. Ireland, a few years ago, we overextended in giving loans to property developers in particular. We stretched ourselves too far, and we reaped a bad legacy on that one. So we actually had to become what they call an EU IMF program country. And we're taking a lot of austerity measures to get ourselves out of that situation. The EU IMF Troika that have visited us, they've been visiting us many times. They're very happy with our progress. And there are other program countries in the European Union where because of our success, we are very confident that we will be the first EU program country to get out of that program country status this year. So we're on course to do that.
Zanima me seveda, ker je Irska slovi kot zelo uspešna članica za črpanje sredstev iz Evropske unije, torej iz teh fondov. Zanima me, kako vam je to uspelo, na kakšen način ste se lotili tega projekta?
Well, as I say, we're 40 years in the European Union. It seems a long time now. But initially, when we joined, the transfers in terms of common agricultural policy transfers, the structural fund transfers, the social fund transfers, and more recently the cohesion fund transfers, they were very good for us. I mean, they were good for us, but equally, the nature of the European Union, there's solidarity in the Union, so it was right for the richer countries to make these transfers to the poorer peripheral countries, as they were called at the time. But it's not just a one-way street. By making Ireland the kind of success story it is today, it's a much better market for German exports and for French exports and British exports. So it's a two-way street. So we used our transfers that we got very, very sensibly in improving our infrastructure and developing our farms and so on. But it's a two-way street. It's good for the European Union, and I know that you two are looking strongly to the Europe, as is Croatia when it comes in, hopefully on the 1st of July next. You will be good too. I can see the benefits that EU structural transfers have made to Slovenia, and long may it last.
Ali obstajajo kakšni slovenski izdelki ali seveda dejavnost, ki bi bila lahko zanimiva za irsko tržišče?
It's hard to say. I mean, our exports in the two directions are not as big as I would like, but and it's hard to get statistics because the manufactured exports, I think they're about 30 million annually, but I suspect the services would be about 50 million in that. So off the top of my head, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe you can tell me what you think would go down well in terms of food or in terms of exports, because I think I only know of about two Slovenian companies in Ireland. I think Kirko are there, Kirko Pharma are there, and
pharmacy, yes,
and I think we have an IT company there as well. There is, I think, one supplier of Slovenian wine in Ireland, but it should be more widespread because your wines are absolutely excellent. I love the wines here, and I wish we had more access to Slovenian wines in Ireland. So I'd before you start exporting your medical products, please focus first on getting us more of your excellent wines to Ireland.
Kako ocenjujete gospodarsko sodelovanje med državama? Bi se dalo še kaj popraviti, kaj urediti?
Well, as I was saying, the trade levels and the business levels are relatively light at the moment, and I would like to see more of that, so I'm not sure how I can do it. I mean, since I've come here, I've had important contacts with the Chamber of Commerce and with other bodies. I'm only here half a year. I'm very much preoccupied now with the EU presidency. Not only do I cover Slovenia, but I also cover Croatia and Bosnia-Herzegovina from here. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster since I started here, and now it's busy with the EU presidency. But once the presidency is out of the way, I'm a great believer in not just being a matchmaker for tourism, but a matchmaker in terms of getting the links going between the confederations of industry, the exporters and so on. So as I say, we're a great exporting nation. You're a good exporting nation. So I would like to see, it's all about people coming, bringing their product and seeing if there's a market for it here. There's nothing to beat being on the ground with your suitcase and your samples and saying, look, I have this, I can provide it competitively to you, and what can we do business? But I mean, ambassadors can encourage people to get together, but we can't sell the products for them. So I mean, we have an excellent body called Enterprise Ireland. They're responsible for the exports, but our chambers of commerce in Ireland are interested in importing as well. So I think I will be encouraging exporters and the Chamber of Commerce here to link up with their opposite numbers in Ireland to see where we can do more business.
Irska ni poznana samo po viskiju, irskem viskiju in seveda po Guinness pivu. Zanima me in seveda slišim tudi, da imate tudi neke lokalne pijače in da imate velik nabor raznolikosti pijač, ki jih pridelate na Irskem.
Well, the other very huge success product for us in the drinks field has been the cream products. Bailey's Irish Cream. It was just a phenomenal success, and we have other cream products, also in the market. But it's not just whiskey. We have our own gin as well. And for me, the Cork dry gin, Cork being the county in the south, Cork dry gin has a distinctive flavour. It's different from the English gin, so it's well worth trying. So they would be the two other products. But I mean, we have Smithwick's beer. We've all sorts of beers as well. The pub, the big drinks in the pub would be I think Smithwick's. I think it's called Kilkenny on the continent, but we still call it Smithwick's and Guinness. So but it's there's. The pub culture is quite unique in Ireland. It's where we go. When I meet a friend on the street, come and have a pint, and you go and have one or two pints, you talk about the world and old times, and the pub culture is absolutely wonderful. So as I said earlier, it's what people need to do.
Kje si pa privoščite irsko pijačo ali pijačo iz Irske tukaj pri nas v Ljubljani?
To be frank, when the phrase "when in Rome, do like the Romans."
Yes.
Here, I drink Slovenian wine. I mean, there are Irish pubs in Ljubljana, but to my shame, I haven't been in any of them yet. But I'll get around to them. But I like. I mean, when you have excellent wine, when I go home, I will drink Guinness, or I will have something else. But here, I prefer to drink the excellent Slovenian wine.
Kako pa predstavite Slovenijo Ircom?
Well, what I tell them is that that Slovenia, like us, is a small country, but it's small but perfectly formed. There's such a diversity here that you can have a short time out of Ljubljana, you can be in the mountains and you can ski or you can trek. A short time down the road, you're at the coast. So you have absolutely everything. And what we don't have, we have everything else in Ireland, but we don't have any Alps. So you have the Alps, and unfortunately, I haven't been out of Ljubljana much, but I've been told, I've been to places like Kran and so on, but I'm told that the hospitality and the warmth of the people in rural Slovenia is just like Ireland, so I'm looking forward after the presidency to getting out and enjoying that hospitality, but you have absolutely everything. A drawback is that the air links are not good between Ljubljana and Ireland. When I go to Dublin from here, I drive down the road 2 hours to Venice, and I have a choice of Aer Lingus from Marco Polo or Ryanair from Treviso. Ryanair only in the summer, but I had been hoping that Adria Airlines would have continued their charters in the summer to Ireland, but that's gone. But it's well worth people actually coming here. Anybody who has been here, and I had visitors all last summer because when they heard I was in Ljubljana, they wanted to be here, and when they come, they're absolutely charmed with the place. The city of Ljubljana, it's a fairy tale place. It's absolutely magical. So, and I mean, I don't, as you know, I live here in Rushevo in Dobrova, but it's nice in the summer to be a little bit away from the heat and to be, I mean, you've seen, I hope, the vista outside. You know, I look up that hill at that wonderful church at the top of the wooded hill, and it's absolutely magical. So I think you have everything here.
Ali ste srečali mogoče kakšne škratje? Irska je, kot vem, dežela, katera ima veliko mitov, legend in seveda veliko pravljic.
Well, for people who may not be familiar with the term, traditionally in Ireland we're supposed to have these little men, leprechauns, who wear these little funny hats and they have brogues on their feet and they're supposed to be found at the end of a rainbow with a crock of gold. And I personally haven't met them. You know, when I was ambassador to India, a young lady asked me in Mumbai, you know, and how are your leprechauns, you know? And I said to her first, look, we don't have any leprechauns in Ireland. And then I felt absolutely guilty. Who am I to kill off these wonderful little men, you know? So I said, of course we have them. They're still there, and they're still there with the money. You know, they're hard to find, but do look out for them. And if you find one, let me know.
Dobite mogoče kakšne obiske in kakšni so njihovi vtisi o naši deželi?
My daughter and her husband and their young baby spent 3 weeks with us last summer, and they were no sooner gone than my son, who has 2 children, and his wife came, and they spent 2 weeks with us, you know, and they're threatening to come back again. I mean, it's nice to have family, you know, it's such a lovely setting. They loved it. I can always judge the popularity of a place by the way my children react to it. I mean, they loved Italy, where they were with me when they were growing up in school there. I was in a certain other big country in Europe, and they weren't taken with it. You know, they came, but they weren't happy with it. When I went to India, India has a lot of exotic attractions, and they absolutely loved it as well. So just like they loved India, they love Slovenia in a totally different way, and I think they'll keep coming back while I'm here.
Kaj vas je v Sloveniji najbolj presenetilo?
I don't think there was any, but frankly, I knew a lot about Slovenia before I came here. When I served elsewhere, there was a Slovenian colleague there, and he actually shared literature about Slovenia way back in the early 2000s with me. So I knew about it, and when I went to India, it was always in the back of my mind that maybe one day I would get to Slovenia. And to be frank, when I was being posted on this posting, I was given a menu of places that they said you can go to if you want, and I had no hesitation in saying it has to be Slovenia. And so there were really no surprises. But I hadn't been to Slovenia before. I had been down to Kärnten in Austria, and I'd been up to northern Italy, but I hadn't actually got in. I hadn't actually got into Slovenia. So it matched my expectations that it would be just as lovely and just as charming as I expected it would be.
Kako pa preživljate vaš prosti čas? Kaj počnete?
Well, as I said, you know, we're great trekkers, and you know, when I have a free hour at the weekends, I will drive up to Pogovor, just up the road, and we'll go and do the wonderful walks there, or I'll just walk around here. You know, we have such wonderful scenery. So there isn't a lot of spare time at the moment, but any spare time, I'm a nature person, as is my wife, and we love to get out and just enjoy the absolutely fantastic scenery and the surroundings here.
Imate kakšno misel ali sporočilo za naše gledalce?
Well, you know, when you joined the European Union in 2004, we were a bit of a model for you. You kind of looked to us as a very successful other small country in Europe, and you kind of modeled us on that. In the same way now that we've had our economic travails in Ireland, in terms of banking, in terms of public finances and that, I think we can both learn a little bit from each other on that, you know. So the main thing I would say is to take heart that this is a great country, and there is need for some austerity here. You have the economic reforms, and while nobody likes austerity, it's absolutely, just as we did in Ireland, you know, we took the medicine, and we're getting out of our economic and financial difficulties, and I think people should take the longer view here, that this is temporary, it won't last forever. We already see the light at the end of the tunnel after our economic difficulties. You should not lose heart, because it's a great country. You have a lot going for you in this country. You will have to go through a little bit of pain in the short term, and these economic reforms are necessary, but you know, see the light at the end of the tunnel, and just like Ireland, the better days, the better prosperity, and the better future, and the better employment prospects, they will come. So keep heart.
Hvala, gospod veleposlanik. Gorev ma agut ambasador.
Gorev ma agut. Thank you very much indeed.
Hvala tudi vam za pozornost, prijeten večer še naprej in lahko noč.